There may be times when you are asked to provide a bio or a biography of your accomplishments. It might be for a playbill, for a new show you're in, or it could be for your website. Now, I've seen a lot of bad bios. Bios, just your biography. So let's take a look at how you can promote yourself the right way on this episode of Casting Actors Cast.
It's time for another episode of Casting Actors Cast, insights for actors from a casting director. Here he is, your host, Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm a casting partner with Pat McCorkle at McCorkle Casting in New York. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I seem to be having a pretty good day so far. I'm getting over a cold a little bit, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty chipper. So welcome to today's podcast. Hey, listen, if you haven't gone to the website, I invite you to do so, castingactorscast.com. If you simply go to the website, you're going to see a form there that says dive into the talent pool. You provide your name and your email, and what that will do is open up some freebies for you. One is a book that I wrote on doing voiceover work. The other is a free video. It's a 20-minute video called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. But also there's some additional information on the website. For example, you will see that there is a link that Creative Coaching Partners has on my website, and that takes you to a course that I am I'm teaching, this wonderful course through this really wonderful producers called Creative Coaching Partners. It's called The Art of the Audition, and it really is an in-depth course. It is a paid course, by the way, so I don't want you to think that I'm just giving that away. It's something that you'd pay for, but let me tell you, its value is I tell you, it's just an unmatched value for you. I kind of look at it like taking a 5-week course in auditioning, all there for you to watch at your leisure. So simply go to the link, Creative Coaching Partners, but they also have some other courses there. There's some voiceover work courses that are there. There's some a wonderful course on doing reality television, getting on a reality show. So that's kind of cool, and all kinds of new courses coming in. So Creative Coaching Partners, The Art of the Audition. I would hope that you want to check that out. Also, additionally, I'm happy to announce the Broadway Podcast Network has invited me to join their network. So Casting Actors Cast is now on the Broadway Podcast Network. That means you don't have to do anything. That if you, whatever your podcast provider is, if you just click on the link, it'll transfer you to the Broadway Podcast Network, where you can see all of my episodes. You can go back into the archives. It's been a really cool time in that the attention that I've been receiving about the podcast has just grown so much, and I couldn't be more excited about that. So nothing is changing, except you can now get a hold of me through the Broadway Podcast Network. Oh, by the way, there's all kinds of amazing podcasts in this warehouse of podcasts. I really think they're doing an amazing job, and so I invite you to check that out as well. So that's kind of cool. And finally, here's my shout out to my good friends at Actors Connection, who continue to provide excellent courses and training online with working professionals in the industry. So that's, I think, everything I need to say. Check out Actors Connection. Hello to my good friends at Actors Connection, Colleen and Tony. Wow, a mouthful. I need a sip. I'm going to have a sip of caffeinated cola. Oh, okay, much better. I'm kind of getting over a cold, and I'm thinking that the medication's kind of kicking in a little bit. Okay, so now, sorry about that, a moment of personal privilege. Let's just talk about this. I think it's important as you look to your bio. Maybe you've written one already. Maybe you haven't written one, which is kind of good news, because this might be new and useful information for you. Maybe you've written one and you think, well, you know, it could have been better, or I kind of scratched it out at the last minute because the theater that I was appearing at needed to have it quickly, and blah, 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 blah. And that's all fine. That's all fine. But let's take a moment and really think about an important aspect of your biography, especially if it's going into print somewhere, especially if you upload it to your website. First, it's important to think of why a bio is actually needed. So if you're going to be writing a bio because it's going into a playbill, it's usually so that an audience member can simply find out more information about you. People might want to know the shows that you've been in and the places that you've worked at, or information about your education or where you're from. Keep the audience in mind when writing this little thumbnail of a biography for your professional life, for your website. Now, speaking of your website, the audience for your website might be slightly different than the audience that's appearing in the playbill. Directors and producers might want to know who you've worked with, the theaters or productions that you've been in, and the film and TV credits. That helps them on several levels. That's your website. So when you put your bio on your website, think about who you're appealing to. And of course, those producers and directors, they just want to simply find out more about you. That also goes true for casting, by the way. When I look at an actor's website bio, there are just a few things to share with you. One is, where are you in your career? I can tell if you've got a handful of regional theater credits and you've got some training at a university training program. That's maybe all I need. I know that you've had some professional training, and maybe I know you've had one or two professional gigs. That's great. So then the next question to ask is, does your bio fit into the project that is being worked on or cast? Is there information that can help consider you for the part? For example, location, where do you live? You see, if you live in proximity to the theater that I'm casting, you might be a local hire. So that's why location could be really important information. So if you start your bio by where you're from or where you're currently living, that might be a really neat thing to add, especially if it's near some theaters, especially if it's near some entertainment hubs, if you will. Also, your bio might need to include some roles that are similar to what I'm looking for. Now, that doesn't mean you have to lie on your bio. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, think about the roles that have been impactful for you as an actor, and would they be roles that you would be cast in now? If that's the case, that's something to make sure is in your bio. Because, let me give you a quick side story here, and that is, we've had more than once a situation where we had to replace an actor at the last minute, for whatever reason, whether it was illness or whether it was they got a TV series or a movie and they had to drop out really quickly, and now casting is left scrambling to find the actor for the part. Well, you know what? If you've done that role and we are looking for a replacement, you have now just reached the top of consideration. We might reach out to you at the last minute and say, hey, listen, I saw that you did the MC in Cabaret. We need to replace the MC at this particular theater starting next week. Are you available? That might be an immediate job for you to jump into. Now, that might be something that you're not interested in doing. Maybe you don't want to do the MC. Maybe you feel like you did the definitive production. You don't need to do it again. Well, that's fine. But at least know that when you list shows that you've done in your program, it might have that kind of an effect in your career. Also, just contact information on a bio is not a terrible idea. When you list your website in your bio, I think that that's a fine idea. It generates perhaps some additional interest in who you are and what you're all about. That contact information is great in a bio. Usually it's at the very end of the bio, but it still can have an impact. So now we've talked about location, we've talked about similar roles, we've talked all about why the bio is an important piece of information. Now, let's talk about the bio. Finally, there may be interest in some personal information like, hobbies, some interests, or another connection that can trigger an actual connection with you for the role. Maybe you're an avid skateboarder. Maybe you love to skateboard. That's your thing. Mentioning it in a bio is not a terrible idea, especially if there might be a role in a film or a television show that we need a skateboarder. Now, you don't have to necessarily include all your hobbies and interests in your bio. Again, be very specific about how you use that information. But sometimes a connection like that can really be beneficial. Now, listen, there are some issues with biographies when you are not aware of who the audience is. So if you're just writing a generic bio and you're just going to put it on your website, or you're just going to have one ready for the theater gig or for somebody who wants it, here's one problem. I see too much information, and too much information on a bio can be a turnoff. I don't need to know your cat's name. I don't need to know your political views or the issues that are near and dear to you in terms of social awareness or your causes. Now, I understand I'm not being disrespectful. While your causes are very important, and they should be, the name of your cat is near and dear to your heart. I'm not saying it for a mean reason, but it may not have the same impact as others when they read it. They may not feel that that's important. In fact, it might be perceived as something that is kind of a turnoff. It might be, why are they mentioning their cat's name? Or why are they mentioning their political views in a bio? You might feel issues with the lack of credits. That's another thing that I see people having questions about. And here's the thing. If you are relatively new to acting and you do not have a ton of credits, just do not use the space for superfluous, good word, trivia about you. In other words, that's not the time to simply fill in the space. Remember that this is for letting others see more of you on print, on a professional level. So past training, thanking those professionals who have helped you out. Now, this is, it might be a debut for you being at the theater for the first time. That's kind of really cool. These are all good additions to think about for your biography. Thanking a spouse or family member is a nice touch if it is brief. Remember, it is more important to share a little about you and your acting rather than fill it with information that serves no one. Simple writing styles are really useful as well. Just make sure that it's an easy read, that it's conversational in style rather than, just a list of credits or accomplishments. Help your reader get a sense of who you are and your personality through your writing style. Also know that humor is subjective, right? So really be careful, because too cute, in my opinion, is too bad. Your biography might need some rewrites for each of the places where you're going to use it. For example, a theater program might have specific requirements. Many theaters that I worked at when I was an actor had a very specific link, or they gave you the exact format of how they wanted their bios to read in their program. They may also have a warning or a concern about personal statements because they don't want that to be necessarily in their program. That's their right to make that request. Now, while your website has its own branding attached, the bio needs to be brief. It needs to be professional. It needs to be impactful, I think. Other times your bio might be needed or asked for when you are writing a press release. Maybe there's a newspaper article where the bio is being asked for. Social media inquiries often will ask for your bio, some updates, and of course other media outlets. But let me just say this, if you've never written a biography, now is the time. Go ahead and just try it. It's also so much better when you do it when there's no pressure, like you have to get it done in a period of time. Just say, I'm going to kind of write my bio. What would my bio look and sound like? What would my bio feel like? So it's a great way to see how your own sense of self can appear in your writing. Making it sound professional, as if it was written by someone else, is the key. Make sure you do it in third person. Jeff Dreisbach was born a small white child in Michigan. Okay, that's not in my bio. I'm giving you an example of why that might not be a good way to start your bio. So simply ask yourself, what would I want to know about my experience as an actor? Once you answer that question, that is going to be extremely helpful for you when you write your bio. So jump in, try it out. Read it for other people. Let other people take a look at it before you publish it. And then, of course, you have it ready to go when the time is right. When you are asked for your bio, you now have something that you are really happy with and proud of. I hope that this has been helpful to you. I've had a great time sharing this information with you. Please, if you have any questions, if you want to know more about this subject, let me know. You can go to the website, castingactorscast, all one word.com, the email, castingactorscast@gmail.com. So you can get a hold of me, ask me any questions that you want. You can also just go ahead and email anything. Let me know that you're out there. All right, I'm done talking. I need a break. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach, and this is Casting Actors Cast. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining Casting Actors Cast. I'm Megan Grace Martinez.